So Piggy, take it away. Oh yes.
So we're focusing on EL module in kindergarten. So reviewing progress from last year, we noticed that the students really needed more opportunity for writing. In Module 2, Unit 2, which is what we're currently working in, we kind of looked ahead of time at the AKS that are going to be assessed. And these are like the heavy sitting AKS, which is they're going to be writing expository writing, and that's really like the big one. So what we know that they need to be able to do this at the end. We know the next one. So what we did was we reviewed the curriculum and we made adjustments, just little tweaks based on student needs. We wanted to give them more opportunity for engaging conversations and engaging writing opportunities. The lessons were really formatted where we took on, like the teacher was doing the load of the writing, and there was no writing opportunity for the students in the lessons except for like every 5 days. So what we decided was the children should be writing every day. So we kind of tweaked it so that we weren't the only ones writing. What was happening in this module is there's this character and he's traveling the world. And we have planned a field trip coming up where we're going to go see Flat Stanley, and in Flat Stanley he travels the world. So we switched out the character, which really is he was just a character from module, and we put in Flat Stanley. So Flat Stanley is now traveling the country, and it's going to give some context to when we see the play eventually, and they'll get really excited about it. They're being introduced to the character ahead of time. And so this is Stanley, and he's traveling around. So this is what they gave us from module. This is from them, and these are the sentence stems, but the teacher wrote it. There was no opportunity for the children to write it. So if you go to the next one, one of our teachers came up with this idea. It's a suitcase, so the children are packing Stanley's suitcase, and they used that picture previously to help them draw and label it. And then these are the sentence stems that the teacher would write, but then we gave the opportunity for the students to write them as well. So we just took that. So this is from last unit, Unit 1, and this is kind of what they have been doing and what they're capable of. So we're really like just labeling pictures. Some of the students are starting to phonetically write. Some of the students aren't labeling, but we're just like hard consonant sounds. And then this is what they're doing with this module, which would be packing the suitcase. So it's based in the text. So it's not just they're coming up with ideas. They have to look in the text, look at what Australia looks like, look at what the weather is, and then pack based on that weather. So it's Australia, it was a little bit cloudy and windy and rainy, so they put umbrellas and sandals and boots and stuff like that. So this is what's happening in kindergarten.
All right. Any questions for Kapiggy?
We're trying to get them writing, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. We all thank you for that.
Yeah. They're going to actually start a weather journal too.
Well, so they do it in the text. So they look in the text and they take from the text.
It's all based in the text.
Okay. All right. Second grade. Let's go. First grade. They're going next grade. Second
Okay, so I don't have a presentation. Sorry. But basically what second grade is doing right now is we noticed that we don't have a lot of review time before our tests. So right now we have the day before the test, but realistically, like we can't go over everything, every misconception the day before. So what we created was we just took our test review and we just broke it up into chunks. So they would take like 3 questions a day. And we noticed that a lot of it wasn't even the kids not understanding the strategies. It was a lot of not understanding like the test format or the questions on the test. So for example, like this was one that we saw. It's asking them to find the standard form, expanded form, and base 10 model. And which they know how to do that, but when they saw this chart, they were like, what is going on? There's so many blanks, I don't know what to do. So it just gave them more opportunities for exposure before the test. And then we also noticed when they took the test, there wasn't a lot of test anxiety, and they did a lot better. So we were breaking this up within the unit. Every time we finished an IOA, we would give them one chunk of the test review, and then we would pull small groups as we go. And then eventually, the day before the test, you already have data, and you pulled most of your small groups, and you can just catch up the other ones. And that's what we've been doing.
I knew there was a question. I was like, hold on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So she asked, is it like an exit ticket? So really, it just depends on what your grade level decides. What we decided is we looked at our formatives, and since it is based on the IOA that we were teaching, depending on the formative, we either gave them this as a replacement, or if it was a short formative, we would just give them both. So it really just depends on what your team wants and what y'all decide on.
It's been super helpful too, because I feel like some IOA, some kids will be really strong at, and you're realizing like, what do I put small groups on when all these kids are maybe understanding this? But this, since it's a review and it's a spiral, while those friends are getting it, sure, now you can pull them for the ones that they're not fully understanding yet ahead of time. So catching the misconceptions.
And are you creating that based on the test? Y'all are making similar problems in the test, or that's something, and y'all are just doing like 3 based on the IOA?
Yeah, it just depends. Like, I think for this one, it was just 2 questions based on the IOA, so that's what we gave them. But
And both of those,
Yes.
like in the GCPS plans, you never teach them that.
yes,
You never
that's
show
another
them
thing.
that, so you give them the test, and they're like, well, we've never really sat and done, because you have to, like, the top one, y'all can't really see, but it'll have, like, the expanded form, but the standard form, the base 10's already empty. So, like, if some students are struggling with expanded form, they're not going to understand to find the base 10 form or the base 10 model. Or if students are mixing up their hundreds, tens, and ones, if they only have the drawing, then they might struggle with what's the actual number that's missing. So, like, catching that ahead of time has been super helpful.
And then when they get it, the second time, they're like, oh, this is easy. Like, I know how to do this. And they just get to work. So a lot of them, when we first gave them this, they were just sitting there. And they were so confused. And I had to go back and tell them, like, okay, they gave you the standard form. Now in this box, they just want this number in expanded form. They're like, oh, that's it? You know, so a lot of it was format, too.
Like a better